There is a quiet power that cannot be bought, copied, or forced. It comes from the way you think, the way you respond, and the habits you practice every single day. The strongest people are not the loudest. They are the most disciplined, self-aware, and emotionally balanced. In this speech, you'll discover 7 powerful habits that can make you naturally magnetic, mentally strong, and deeply respected, helping you build a life that inspires others without seeking their approval. Every great transformation begins with a conversation that no one else can hear. It is the conversation you have with yourself every morning when you wake up, every evening before you sleep, and every time life places a challenge in front of you. Most people believe their greatest enemy is outside them, but in reality, the voice inside their own mind often becomes the biggest obstacle. That inner voice can either build confidence or slowly destroy it. It can remind you of your strength or constantly repeat your fears, failures, and doubts until they become your identity. Your mind is always listening to what you tell it. If you repeatedly say, "I am not good enough," your actions will begin to reflect those words. If you constantly think, "I always fail," you will hesitate before every opportunity, because your brain has already accepted defeat. On the other hand, when you choose thoughts that encourage responsibility, courage, and growth, your behavior gradually changes to match those beliefs. Your inner dialogue becomes the blueprint for your future. Many people wait for someone else to encourage them. They wait for compliments, recognition, or approval before believing in themselves. This creates a dangerous dependence because other people's opinions constantly change. One day they praise you, and the next day they criticize you. If your confidence depends on external voices, your peace will disappear whenever those voices become negative. Real strength begins when your own voice becomes stronger than the opinions surrounding you. Notice how you speak to yourself after making a mistake. Some people immediately attack themselves with harsh words. They say they are useless, unlucky, or incapable. They replay the mistake over and over until it grows much larger than it really is. A mentally strong person chooses a different response. They acknowledge the mistake without attacking their identity. They understand that failure is an event, not a definition of who they are. Your brain cannot always distinguish between what is true and what is repeatedly practiced. Whatever thoughts you repeat every day become familiar patterns. If fear is repeated often enough, courage begins to feel uncomfortable. If confidence is practiced consistently, self-belief becomes natural. This is why your daily mental habits matter far more than occasional moments of motivation. Instead of asking yourself, "Why is my life so difficult?" ask, "What can I learn from this situation?" Instead of saying, "I can't do this," ask, "How can I improve?" Small changes in your questions create big changes in your perspective. Your mind begins searching for solutions instead of excuses. Problems become lessons. Obstacles become opportunities to develop patience, wisdom, and resilience. Pay attention to the words you use when describing yourself. Every label carries power. If you repeatedly call yourself lazy, your brain begins to protect that identity by avoiding disciplined actions. If you identify yourself as someone who learns, grows, and adapts, your mind starts looking for behaviors that support that identity. Your actions always try to remain consistent with the story you tell yourself. Silence also plays an important role in mastering your inner dialogue. Modern life is filled with endless noise. Social media, news, opinions, and constant comparison leave little space to hear your own thoughts clearly. When your mind is constantly distracted, negative thinking often grows unnoticed. Spending even a few quiet minutes every day allows you to observe your thoughts instead of becoming controlled by them. Awareness is the first step toward change because you cannot improve thoughts you never notice. A calm mind does not mean a mind without challenges. It means a mind that refuses to become a prisoner of every passing emotion. Fear may appear, but it does not become your master. Doubt may knock at the door, but it is not invited to stay. Confidence is not the absence of uncertainty. It is the decision to continue moving, even while uncertainty exists. Discipline in your inner dialogue requires daily practice. There will be mornings when your mind immediately focuses on everything that is wrong. There will be days when disappointment tries to convince you that giving up is easier than continuing. During those moments, your responsibility is not to believe every thought that appears. Thoughts are not commands, they are simply mental events. You have the ability to question them, replace them, and choose which ones deserve your attention. Imagine speaking to yourself the same way you would encourage someone you truly care about. You would not constantly insult them after every mistake. You would remind them of their potential, encourage them to keep learning, and help them stand up after falling. Yet many people offer kindness to everyone except themselves. Mental strength grows when self-respect becomes part of your daily conversation. Every successful person has experienced moments of fear, rejection, uncertainty, and failure. The difference is not that they never heard negative thoughts. The difference is that they refused to let those thoughts become permanent beliefs. They learned to separate temporary emotions from lasting identity. They understood that today's struggle does not decide tomorrow's destiny. The quality of your life is deeply connected to the quality of the conversations happening inside your own mind. Long before confidence becomes visible in your posture, your decisions, and your actions, it is quietly built through thousands of invisible thoughts repeated every single day. Every encouraging word you speak to yourself becomes another brick in the foundation of your character. Every disciplined thought strengthens your resilience. Every hopeful belief expands your ability to face uncertainty with courage, creating a presence that naturally attracts trust, respect, and lasting inner peace. Self-discipline is one of the rarest qualities in today's world because most people are controlled by their feelings instead of their values. They work only when they feel motivated. They exercise only when they feel energetic. They study only when they are in the mood. They chase their goals only when life feels easy. The problem with this approach is that emotions constantly change. Motivation comes and goes like the weather, but discipline remains steady, regardless of how you feel. A mentally strong person understands that success is built through consistent action, not temporary excitement. Every promise you make to yourself has value. When you tell yourself that you will wake up early, finish a task, read a book, or complete a workout, your mind is paying attention. If you repeatedly break those promises, something invisible begins to happen. Your brain slowly loses trust in your own words. You begin to doubt yourself before you even start. This is why so many people struggle with confidence. It is not because they lack talent. It is because they have trained themselves to believe that their own commitments cannot be trusted. Imagine meeting someone who always breaks their promises. Eventually, you would stop believing what they say. The same principle applies to your relationship with yourself. Every time you delay an important responsibility without a good reason, every time you make excuses instead of taking action, you weaken your own self-respect. Discipline is not only about getting things done. It is about becoming someone whose word has meaning, especially to yourself. People often think discipline is punishment, but true discipline is actually freedom. It frees you from procrastination, unnecessary stress, regret, and wasted potential. The disciplined person does not constantly negotiate with their emotions. They make decisions based on what is important, rather than what is comfortable. While others are waiting for the perfect mood, disciplined individuals are quietly making progress, one step at a time. Comfort has become one of the biggest distractions of modern life. Entertainment is available every second. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, and quick pleasures make it easy to avoid difficult work. The brain naturally chooses what feels easy because it wants immediate rewards. However, everything valuable usually requires delayed gratification. Learning a skill, building a business, improving your health, strengthening relationships, or developing wisdom all require patience and consistent effort over time. Every small act of discipline strengthens your identity. Waking up when the alarm rings instead of pressing the snooze button teaches your mind that you are someone who follows through. Finishing a task before relaxing teaches responsibility. Keeping your daily routine, even when no one is watching, builds integrity. These actions may seem small, but they gradually reshape your character. Great success is rarely created by one extraordinary decision. It is built through thousands of ordinary decisions, repeated consistently. Mentally strong people do not eliminate discomfort. They become comfortable with discomfort. They understand that growth always demands something from you. It may demand patience, sacrifice, effort, or temporary inconvenience. The more willing you are to face discomfort today, the more freedom you create for yourself tomorrow. Avoiding difficult tasks may provide short-term relief, but it usually creates long-term frustration. Discipline also means controlling your impulses. Not every thought deserves action. Not every emotion deserves a reaction. There will be moments when anger invites you to speak harshly. Laziness tells you to postpone important work, or fear encourages you to quit before trying. Discipline gives you the ability to pause and ask a simple question. Will this decision help the person I want to become? That pause often separates successful people from those who remain stuck. Many people overestimate what they can accomplish in one day and underestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year of consistent effort. They look for dramatic transformations instead of building reliable habits. They become discouraged when immediate results fail to appear. Discipline teaches patience. It reminds you that meaningful progress often happens quietly. Just because you cannot immediately see growth does not mean growth is not happening beneath the surface. Your environment also influences your discipline. If your surroundings constantly encourage distraction, maintaining focus becomes more difficult. This is why disciplined individuals intentionally create routines that support their goals. They organize their time, reduce unnecessary interruptions, and make good decisions easier than bad ones. They understand that success is not only about willpower, it is also about designing a lifestyle that supports consistency. There will always be days when you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. Discipline does not require you to perform perfectly every single day. It asks you to remain committed even when your performance is not at its best. A small step forward is still progress. Reading 1 page is better than reading none. Completing part of a task is better than abandoning it completely. Consistency always defeats occasional intensity. Another important part of discipline is accepting responsibility without making excuses. Excuses may protect your ego for a moment, but they prevent growth. Responsibility may feel uncomfortable at first, but it gives you power because it reminds you that your future depends largely on the choices you make today. Blaming circumstances, luck, or other people only keeps you trapped in the same patterns. The people you admire most are rarely those with the greatest talent alone. They are often the ones who continued showing up when others gave up. They remained committed when progress was slow. They stayed focused while others became distracted. Their confidence was not created by constant success. It was built by repeatedly proving to themselves that they could be trusted to keep going, regardless of how they felt. Every disciplined decision becomes another vote for the person you are becoming. Every promise you keep strengthens your self-respect. Every moment you choose responsibility over comfort builds resilience. Every action completed without waiting for motivation creates momentum. Over time, these quiet victories transform not only your habits, but also your character, allowing you to develop the inner strength, reliability, and quiet confidence that naturally earns respect and makes your presence genuinely magnetic. Life does not become easier simply because you wish it would. Challenges, criticism, disappointment, uncertainty, and unexpected setbacks are part of every human journey. The difference between those who break under pressure and those who grow stronger is not the absence of difficulties. It is the ability to remain calm when everything around them feels uncertain. A calm mind is one of the greatest forms of strength because it allows you to think clearly when others are overwhelmed by emotion. Most people react before they think. A single negative comment can ruin their entire day. One unexpected problem can make them believe everything is falling apart. A disagreement can turn into anger within seconds. These reactions often happen automatically because emotions move faster than logic. Mental strength begins when you learn to create a small space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. That small pause can completely change the outcome of a difficult situation. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is strong, the rain is heavy, and everything around you feels chaotic. Now imagine a mountain standing in the same storm. The mountain does not argue with the weather. It does not panic because the wind becomes stronger. It remains steady because its foundation is deep. Your mind should become like that mountain. External circumstances will continue to change, but your inner stability should not depend on every passing event. Remaining calm does not mean suppressing your emotions. It does not mean pretending that pain does not exist or acting as though nothing affects you. Calmness means acknowledging your emotions without allowing them to control your decisions. You may feel fear, frustration, disappointment, or anger, but you choose not to become a prisoner of those feelings. You recognize them, understand them, and then decide how to respond wisely. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that every emotion requires immediate action. Feeling angry does not mean you should immediately speak. Feeling anxious does not mean you should immediately quit. Feeling discouraged does not mean you should abandon your goals. Emotions are temporary visitors. They provide information, but they should not become permanent leaders of your life. Pressure has an interesting way of revealing character. Anyone can appear confident when life is comfortable and everything goes according to plan. Real confidence appears when plans fail, when people criticize you, when opportunities disappear, or when uncertainty enters your life. Those moments expose whether your peace depends on external circumstances or internal discipline. Many unnecessary problems begin with emotional reactions. Relationships are damaged because someone spoke without thinking. Careers are affected because someone reacted impulsively. Opportunities are lost because fear convinced someone to stop before trying. A calm mind protects you from making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Sometimes the strongest action is choosing not to react immediately. Breathing may seem simple, yet it has a powerful effect on the mind. When people become anxious, their breathing often becomes fast and shallow. This sends signals throughout the body that increase stress even further. Taking slow, controlled breaths reminds your nervous system that you are safe enough to think clearly. It creates a moment of awareness where wisdom can replace impulse. Your thoughts also influence your emotional state. If your mind constantly imagines the worst possible outcome, anxiety naturally increases. If you repeatedly replay painful experiences, anger continues growing long after the event has ended. Mentally strong people learn to question catastrophic thinking. Instead of assuming disaster, they ask themselves whether their thoughts are supported by facts or driven by fear. This simple habit prevents many unnecessary emotional battles. Comparison is another hidden source of pressure. Modern life makes it easy to compare your progress with everyone else's success. Social media often shows carefully selected moments instead of complete realities. When you constantly compare yourself with others, your peace becomes dependent on achievements that are not even your own. A calm mind focuses on personal growth instead of endless competition. It understands that every person is walking a different path with different challenges and different timing. Criticism is another test of emotional strength. Some criticism is useful because it helps you improve. Some criticism is unfair because it comes from misunderstanding, jealousy, or negativity. Learning to separate constructive advice from meaningless opinions protects your peace. You do not need to carry every judgment someone places upon you. Not every opinion deserves a place in your mind. Patience is closely connected to calmness. Many people become frustrated because they expect immediate results. They plant a seed today and expect a tree tomorrow. Growth rarely follows that timeline. Whether you are developing a skill, improving your health, strengthening relationships, or building a meaningful career, progress requires time. A patient mind remains focused even when visible results appear slowly. Silence also strengthens emotional control. In a world filled with constant noise, silence allows your thoughts to settle. Instead of reacting to every notification, every opinion, and every distraction, you learn to observe your own mind. During quiet moments, many unnecessary worries lose their power because you finally see them clearly, instead of constantly feeding them with attention. Another important part of staying calm is accepting what cannot be controlled. Many people waste enormous amounts of emotional energy worrying about other people's children's behavior, unexpected events, or situations beyond their influence. This creates frustration because no amount of worry changes reality. Mental strength grows when you focus your attention on your own choices, your own attitude, and your own actions, rather than trying to control everything around you. The people who leave the strongest impression are rarely the loudest in the room. They are often the ones who remain composed when everyone else becomes emotional. Their calm presence creates trust because people know they will not panic under pressure. They think before speaking, listen before judging, and respond with intention instead of impulse. Their stability becomes a source of confidence, not only for themselves, but also for those around them, allowing them to face uncertainty with clarity, earn lasting respect through emotional balance, and develop a quiet strength that naturally attracts others. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess, yet it is also one of the easiest things to lose. Every day, countless people, devices, notifications, advertisements, opinions, and distractions compete for a small piece of your focus. Most people believe they are simply passing time, but in reality, they are giving away their energy, little by little, until they have almost nothing left for the things that truly matter. A mentally strong person understands that protecting attention is not selfish. It is necessary for building a meaningful and successful life. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If your focus is constantly consumed by gossip, negativity, comparison, and endless entertainment, your mind gradually becomes filled with those same patterns. If your attention is invested in learning, personal growth, meaningful work, and healthy relationships, your character begins to reflect those priorities. Every day, your attention quietly shapes the person you are becoming. Many people wake up and immediately reach for their phones. Before they have even spoken to themselves, they have already invited hundreds of outside voices into their minds. News headlines, social media updates, opinions, arguments, and endless content begin influencing their emotions before they have chosen their own direction for the day. By the time they start working, their mind is already tired from consuming information that may have added little value to their lives. The modern world rewards distraction because your attention has become a valuable product. Companies compete to keep you scrolling, clicking, watching, and reacting for as long as possible. Every notification is designed to interrupt your concentration. Every new piece of content promises excitement, curiosity, or entertainment. There is nothing wrong with enjoying technology, but problems begin when technology controls your attention instead of serving your goals. Focus is becoming a rare skill because most people have trained their minds to expect constant stimulation. They struggle to read a few pages without checking their phones. They find it difficult to complete one task without switching to another. Their concentration becomes weaker because it is rarely allowed to remain in one place for very long. Like a muscle that is never exercised, the ability to focus gradually loses its strength. Protecting your energy also means choosing carefully who receives access to your emotional space. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every argument requires your participation. Not every criticism deserves a response. Some people constantly create drama because they feed on emotional reactions. Every minute spent arguing with unnecessary negativity is a minute taken away from your own growth. Wisdom is often found in knowing what to ignore rather than trying to respond to everything. Many people believe saying yes makes them kind, but constantly saying yes to everything often means saying no to your own priorities. Every commitment requires time, attention, and emotional energy. If you fill your schedule with obligations that do not align with your values, you will eventually feel exhausted without understanding why. Learning to say no respectfully is not rejection, it is protection. It allows you to preserve your energy for the responsibilities and opportunities that truly deserve your best effort. Your environment also influences your ability to stay focused. A cluttered space often creates a cluttered mind. Constant background noise, endless interruptions, and disorganized surroundings quietly reduce your ability to think deeply. Creating a simple and organized environment sends a message to your mind that it is time to concentrate. Small changes in your surroundings can produce significant improvements in your ability to remain focused. Mental energy is limited. Every unnecessary decision, every emotional conflict, and every distraction consumes part of that energy. By the end of the day, many people feel exhausted even though they accomplished very little. This happens because they spent most of their mental strength reacting instead of creating. Mentally strong individuals become intentional about where they invest their attention. They understand that protecting energy is just as important as generating it. Comparison is another major thief of focus. When you constantly measure your progress against other people, your attention shifts away from your own journey. Instead of improving your skills, you begin worrying about someone else's success. Instead of appreciating your progress, you become frustrated because someone appears to be moving faster. Every person has different experiences, opportunities, and challenges. Comparing yourself to others steals motivation because it distracts you from the only life you are responsible for improving. Deep work requires uninterrupted attention. Whether you are studying, building a business, writing, creating, or learning a new skill, meaningful progress happens when your mind remains fully engaged with one important task. Great achievements are rarely produced by scattered effort. They are created through sustained concentration over long periods of time. Protecting your focus gives you the ability to produce work that reflects your highest potential. Rest is also part of protecting your energy. Many people confuse constant activity with productivity. They remain busy every hour of the day, but never allow their minds to recover. A tired mind loses creativity, patience, and emotional stability. Quality rest is not laziness. It is preparation. Just as muscles need recovery after exercise, the mind needs moments of stillness to remain clear and effective. Another powerful habit is becoming selective about the information you consume. Every book, conversation, video, podcast, or article leaves a small imprint on your thinking. If you constantly consume fear, anger, and negativity, your perspective becomes shaped by those emotions. If you intentionally choose knowledge that encourages wisdom, discipline, and growth, your thinking gradually becomes stronger. Your mental diet is just as important as your physical diet because both influence the quality of your life. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not always those with the greatest intelligence. They are often the ones who have mastered the ability to direct their attention toward what truly matters while ignoring countless distractions. They understand that every moment of focused effort builds momentum. Every unnecessary distraction carries a hidden cost, and every wise decision about where to invest their energy strengthens their ability to remain calm, productive, and deeply present in a world that constantly competes for their attention. Quiet confidence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can develop because it does not demand attention. It does not seek approval, compete for recognition, or constantly try to prove its worth. It simply exists. In a world where many people feel the need to announce every achievement, defend every opinion, and seek validation from strangers, quiet confidence stands apart. It speaks through consistency, integrity, and action, rather than through loud words. Many people misunderstand confidence. They believe it means speaking the loudest, dominating every conversation, or convincing everyone that they are successful. But true confidence has very little to do with appearances. A person who is genuinely confident does not need to remind others of their value every day, because they already know who they are. Their identity is not built on applause. It is built on character. There is a difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance constantly compares itself to others. It wants to feel superior. It seeks attention because it depends on external validation. Confidence, on the other hand, has no need to compete unnecessarily. It understands that another person's success does not reduce your own value. A confident person can celebrate the achievements of others because they are secure in their own journey. The strongest people rarely waste energy trying to impress everyone. They understand that opinions change quickly. Someone who admires you today may criticize you tomorrow. If your happiness depends on receiving constant approval, your peace will always remain fragile. Quiet confidence frees you from this endless cycle because your self-worth comes from living according to your values rather than satisfying everyone's expectations. Actions always carry more weight than words. It is easy to make promises, announce goals, or talk about future success. It is much more difficult to consistently do the work when nobody is watching. Quietly showing up every day, keeping your commitments, improving your skills, and treating people with respect creates a reputation that no amount of self-promotion can replace. People eventually trust what they repeatedly observe, not what they repeatedly hear. Integrity is one of the foundations of quiet confidence. Integrity means your actions remain consistent with your principles, even when no one is there to reward or criticize you. It means doing the right thing because it is right, not because someone is watching. Every decision made with honesty strengthens your self-respect. When you know you have acted with integrity, you carry yourself differently because there is no need to hide behind excuses or false appearances. Another sign of quiet confidence is the ability to listen. Insecure people often interrupt because they fear being ignored. They rush to prove they are knowledgeable before fully understanding the conversation. Confident people are comfortable listening because they know their value does not disappear during moments of silence. They ask thoughtful questions, pay attention, and speak only when they